For baseball, we'll have the Cardinals and the Cubs coming up, but the big story today, Jim Hendry, longtime general manager of the Cubs, has been fired. Randy Bush will take over as the interim GM. And, Bob, we'll hear from Tom Ricketts and from Jim Hendry here in a second. But the bottom line was the Cubs just didn't win enough ball games.
Well, unfortunately, in professional sports, that is the bottom line. Do you win or do you not win? And the Cubs just haven't won enough ball games the last couple of years to justify keeping Jim around.
We'll hear some reaction here in a few minutes from Mike Quade and Kerry Wood. But up first, Chairman Tom Ricketts and GM, former GM now, Jim Hendry.
As you already know, as of today, Jim Hendry is stepping down as general manager of the Chicago Cubs. The reasons for this decision are twofold. First and foremost, we just didn't win enough games. Team performance over the last 2 years is not where it needs to be. And in a culture of accountability, we need to look at these kind of results. Secondarily, our goal is to win the World Series, and to do that, we have to get better. I just believe that by bringing in new leadership for the baseball organization, we'll get some different perspectives and maybe some different ideas on where to go in the future. Nothing that happens today should diminish Jim's great legacy as general manager of the Chicago Cubs. Obviously, the 3 division titles during his tenure. A winning record from what I see on the press release. And we would like to thank him for his great service to this organization for the many, many years he was here. Also, nothing that happens today in any way should be a reflection on or should diminish the great respect that everyone in this organization and the Ricketts family has for Jim. Jim is truly a first-class individual, and one of the greatest things of the first 2 years being here is getting to know him as a person and getting to know him as a friend. He's a great guy, and we'll all miss seeing him every day at the office for sure. This morning, as you're probably pretty well aware, we've been focusing on internal communication. I've already spoken to the team in the clubhouse, to Mike, to a lot of the people in the baseball on the baseball staff. As you know, I've been out with all of our people in the baseball organization and know them very well. I think that we have some terrific people in the organization who do work very, very hard and do absolutely excellent work. And I've spoken to many of those people. One of those people that I think does excellent work is Randy Bush, who will be taking over as the interim general manager while the search process is going forward. The search for a new general manager effectively begins today. I will be reaching out over the next few days to industry veterans and people who have been through this situation before to get their thoughts and opinions on what I should be doing and what I should be looking for. Those conversations, in combination with our own analysis and our efforts, will help us narrow down the list of prospective candidates shortly, and we will work diligently to get the right person into the baseball organization as soon as it's practical.
As you know, this is my last day. 17 years, variety of jobs, great place to work. Great fans, greatest ballpark in the world, and obviously been very, very fortunate to be with the people I've been with. At the end of the day, I'm not going to leave here with any problems. Tom Ricketts is a good man. We just didn't win enough ball games. That's the bottom line. It's professional baseball. You don't win enough games over a couple of years, you can't fight change. He and I will have a great relationship down the road. I'm hopeful it'll be like Jerry Reinsdorf and Tony La Russa have. I don't think there's a finer owner in professional sports than Jerry, and I think Tom and his family will be tremendous here down the road. I really do. I think it's going to be a great place. I think he did what he felt he had to do. He treated me great here the last couple years in tough times. I think he understood we probably weren't going to be great the way things were set up. And I think moving forward, there's a lot of huge decisions that have to be made this off season, and I think that, you know, if I was the one making them and they all didn't work out, then the person after me would have had to wear some of those for longer. So I think in his heart he wanted it to go better. He didn't take over this franchise looking to think Jim was going to be a short-termer. All the things he told you guys was legit. You know, you get to the point where it's big business. We're here to win games. In the last couple of years, we didn't win enough of them. You know, so I'm trying to reflect on, you know, a lot of great things that have happened here. You know, you couldn't have worked for a better guy than Andy McPhail. You know, gave me a hell of an opportunity. That's all you can ask for in life: opportunity, not security. And what a gesture he did when he wore it for a couple of years after Ed left, and then when it got to the point where we might be able to be good, he gave it to me.
Very emotional news conference from Jim Hendry. And when we come back, Gail Fisher will have some thoughts from Mike Quade and Kerry Woon. We're getting set for the Cardinals and Cubs from Wrigley.
For the Cubs and Cardinals, I'm Gail Fisher down on the field, and once again the big news of the day is that Jim Hendry has stepped down as general manager. He told the players and coaching staff in a meeting before batting practice this morning, and I can tell you that most of the players and the staff are going to miss him. He was a friend to a lot of people, and perhaps the player that knew him the longest was Kerry Wood, who said he first met Jim when he was an 18-year-old trying to break in to the big leagues. Kerry Wood and Mike Quade talking to the media this morning about what a friend Jim Hendry has been to them over the years and the fact that he was not a prototypical general manager.
We had that relationship where we could talk about stuff, and Jim had that relationship with a lot of guys. I mean, he's not your prototypical GM, and you know, the players respect him and enjoy talking to him, and feel like we can go talk to him, and you know, about anything at any time, and he was that kind of a person. So he was a great person, did a lot of great things for this organization, and helped turn this organization around, and you know, I owe a lot to him.
He did everything. He's coached, he's scouted. He truly understood top to bottom as well as any general manager that I've probably worked for. And that gave him a special relationship with his staff, with his players, with his input, because, you know, it wasn't like somebody who was telling you something that had never experienced this or that. So whatever the legacy is in my time here with the Cubs, he's as good a baseball man as I've been around. And as I said earlier, I've been around some pretty good ones. I've been very fortunate.
I've also talked to several other players off camera, and they all echo the same sentiments that Jim Hendry did a lot for them and that he will be missed. So the business of baseball had to be done, and Jim Hendry's tenure here is over, but the friendships that he has developed over the years will continue. Well, stay with us on the other side of the break. Len Casper and Bob Brenly will get you set for the Cubs and Cardinals coming up next. Stay with us.
Wrigleyville will be packed all weekend long as the Cardinals have hit town, and Cub fans grabbing a free T-shirt on their way through the turnstiles. Beautiful day for baseball. The Cardinals and Cubs resume one of the greatest rivalry in all of sports. Cubs trying to play spoiler once again. St. Louis in second place, but right now a distance 6.5 behind first place Milwaukee. They're also 6.5 out in the wild card. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. The big story today is General Manager Jim Hendry has been dismissed, and the interim GM will be his assistant, Randy Bush. But on to baseball, the Cubs have had a good month of August. They've actually put up a better record than the Cardinals.
Yeah, and they've been doing it mostly with offense, Len. The pitching has been marginally better than it was early this season, but the offense has really busted loose here in the month of August. You see the numbers comparatively between the Cards and the Cubs. Once again, we talked about it earlier this week. Realistic goal for the Cubs: catch the Pirates, catch the Reds.
And the Cubs will lose this season series most likely unless they get really hot against the Cardinals. Only 6 to play, and they've gone just 2-7. Let's go down to the field now. Our national anthem, Wayne and Kathleen Messmer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Packed house today as the Cubs host the St. Louis Cardinals. Cubs coming off a 3-3 trip. This is a 7-game homestand. We'll have all the action coming up next.
Sportsnet is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. 75 years of being right here in Illinois means no one's closer to your wellness. Experience wellness everywhere. Subway. Every day at Subway, choose from many delicious regular footlong subs for just $5. Subway. Eat fresh. Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today or go to shophonda.com and find great values on a new Honda. AT&T Uverse. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates.
What a gorgeous day. Great way to kick off the weekend as the Cubs host the Cardinals. The wild card leading Braves come in for 4 starting Monday. So this is a big homestand in terms of the damage the Cubs could inflict on their opponents as they take the field behind Belleville, Illinois native Randy Wells. Let's check in on the Cardinals Southwest starting lineup he will face. Both teams with an off day yesterday. Rafael Furcal was acquired from the Dodgers when the Cubs were in St. Louis earlier this year. Alan Craig, first major league action in center. Albert Pujols, just yawn. 30 more home runs this year. Holiday, Berkman, Freese. You've got Molina behind the plate hitting .297. The former Cub Ryan Theriot and Jaime Garcia.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively today, brought to you by Degrees. Soriano, Bird, and Johnson across the outfield against the left-hander Garcia today. Ramirez and Castro on the left side of the infield. Barney and Jeff Baker on the right side. Giovanni Soto doing the catching today for our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher, right-hander Randy Wells. Picked up the victory last time out against the Braves. He surrendered 8 base hits in only 5 innings of work. The good news is, however, he did not walk a batter. You heard Todd Hollandsworth talking about the big inning plaguing Randy Wells this year, and usually there's a couple of base on balls wedged in the middle of it. Hopefully he'll be able to avoid those walks again today.
And before we get started, let's check in on the umpire. Scott Berry, promoted to the full-time major league staff prior to this season. Michigan native. He'll call balls and strikes. Laz Diaz, Wally Bell, and the crew chief John Hirschbeck around the bases. We want to welcome those viewers watching on ESPN UK and around the globe on the Armed Forces Radio and TV network. Here's switch hitting Rafael Furcal to lead it off. Cardinals got him from the Dodgers at the July trade deadline. 2 stints on the DL with the Dodgers. And the switch hitter takes a strike on the outside corner, and we're underway. As I mentioned, the Cardinals have gone 7-2 in the first 9 meetings between these teams. Wind is coming in off the lake at 7 miles an hour out of the east. Still a very comfortable 77 degrees. Bunted by Furcal. Soto will pick it up and throw him out.
Bunting and showing bunt and then slapping at the ball used to be a big part of Rafael Furcal's arsenal. He does not run nearly as well as he once did, and I think actually does the defense a huge favor when he tries to bunt for a base hit. Soto throws him out by a couple of steps on a pretty good bunt.
Now Alan Craig, who has kind of moved around defensively as Tony La Russa tries to keep his bat in their lineup, playing center today for the first time in his career. In the Cardinals' last game Wednesday night at Pittsburgh, he hit 2 home runs and went 4 for 5.
Seems like an interesting experiment even by Tony La Russa standards. I mean, not doubting Alan Craig's ability to play center field, but when you've got Matt Holliday, a subpar defender in left field, and Lance Berkman, a first baseman playing right field, it helps to have a center fielder that knows what he's doing and can cover a lot of ground out there to help those 2 corner outfielders. Be interesting to see how Craig handles those duties today.
Well, Wrigley Field's outfield not quite as spacious as other ballparks, and the Cardinals lead the league in runs, so I guess the theory is out hit your mistakes. 3-1. When Wells misses, that's what he needs to do. Miss in his favor, which would mean low. Especially when that guy comes up, leading the league with 30 home runs. Here's the 3-1 pitch, a ground ball to Starlin Castro. Whenever you can face Albert Pujols with 2 outs and nobody on, that's a plus. 11 consecutive seasons of 30 homers to begin his career. That's a record to start a career. He leads the league in homers and runs, and this is an off year for him.
Well, an off year for Albert is a career year for most players. He loves to hit in this ballpark.
So I mentioned the record to start a career, 11 straight 30 homer seasons. He's only the 4th player ever to have 11 seasons of 30 homers at any point in his career. Joining Alex Rodriguez, Barry Bonds, and Jimmy Fox on that list. And oh, by the way, 5 homers in 9 games against the Cubs this season. 5 doubles, 5 walks, and hitting almost 500.
5s are wild. And so far, Randy Wells pitching Albert Pujols the way most teams try to. You really can't stay one way with Albert. You can't just pitch him away, 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 because he'll drive the ball to the gap in right center. Go.
Gets him on a sinker, and Randy Wells with a nice 1-2-3 first. This has been a problem that first inning. Not today. Cubs coming up. Situationally, they need to be a lot better than they were in that Houston series. 4 for 38 with runners in scoring position. Castro, Johnson, and Ramirez at the top. Baker, Soto, Bird in the middle. Soriano with Barney hitting 8th, and Randy Wells 9th.
A quick look at the Cardinals defensively today. As we mentioned earlier, Matt Holliday in left, Alan Craig in center, Lance Berkman over in right field. It'll be Freese, Furcal, Terrio, and Pujols around the infield, 3rd to 1st. Yadier Molina doing the catching today for left-hander Jaime Garcia. His numbers on the season: 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He's a guy that has walked more as the season has progressed. Early on, he was a strike thrower supreme, but he's gotten some trouble with the base on balls more recently.
Going into his start on May 28th at Colorado, he was 5-0. with a 1.93 ERA. Then he gave up 12 runs in 3 1/3 in a disastrous start. He's 5-6 with a 4.5 ERA over his last 15 starts, beginning with that outing. It's kind of been a tale of 2 seasons. Born in Reynosa, Mexico. And he's only 25 years old, 6'2", 215. Beaten the Cubs already twice this season. There's a curveball that dips low.
talking to the Cardinals coaching staff before the ball game today, they said a lot of the same things about Jaime Garcia that we say about Randy Wells. He's at his best when he's down in the zone. Has much better movement on his fastball.
Pitch was up, and it'll be a base hit. And again, a little bit of that inexperience maybe from Alan Craig. That ball seemed to hang up there for a bit. And a more experienced center fielder might have been able to make the catch, but as it is, it's a leadoff single and the 300th career hit for Starlin Castro.
Elevated fastball at 91. Castro all over it, right back up the middle of the field. And you're right about Craig in center. A little tentative on his break on that ball. If he gets a jump like a lot of normal or normal center fielders, guys who are used to playing that position, he probably has a chance to make that play. But a little tentative on that first one, hit his direction.
Now Reed Johnson, who is red hot, 11 for his last 18 with a home run. And he and Jeff Baker get the start against the left-hander. Castro, by the way, is one of 5 Cubs all-time to get 300 hits in his first 2 major league seasons. Bill Everett, back in the late 1890s, one of your contemporaries. Glenn Beckert in the mid-60s. Bill Dahlin also in the 1890s. And Mark Grace, the only other Cubs over their first 2 big league seasons to have at least 300 hits. Bill Everett could hit a fastball.
Yeah, he definitely could hit a fastball. Leg out the occasional infield hit. I think.
Well, they score a lot of runs for Garcia. Popped up by Johnson, and Pujols with plenty of room and foul ground makes the grab.
Well, Len, I'm going to point it out anyway. We know the Cubs aren't real adventurous on the bases. They don't steal a lot. Partially against the Cardinals because Yadier Molina is behind the plate, but against Jaime Garcia, base stealers are 12 out of 14 on the season. I think in a lot of cases it's just breaking on first movement. And if you guess right, you can steal some bases on Garcia because he is deliberate to the plate with a runner at first base.
Well, the streaking Aramis Ramirez, he's hitting 7 straight. Many times you say when a guy is hot, when a team is hot, and you have an off day, you'd rather not have it. But I think the Cubs wanted it. They had a stretch of 23 consecutive days during which they had to come to the ballpark. They had a rain out, which took away an off day. I think everybody needed yesterday. And they won't have another one for a couple of weeks. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tough finish to the just completed road trip, losing back-to-back games in Houston. Both games very winnable. They dropped 1-run decisions. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
But given the fact that Ramirez has undoubtedly been one of the hottest Cubs hitters, and the advanced preparation that the Cardinals pitching staff gets at the hand of Dave Duncan, I would really be surprised if Ramirez gets much good to hit in this entire series.
Bounced out in front of home plate, blocked by perennial Gold Glover Yadier Molina.
Most Cub fans know this already, but Yadier Molina, right out of the same mold of Humberto Quintero down in Houston, has a solid throwing arm, loves to showcase it. loves to help his pitchers out by attempting to pick off runners on the bases, and the Cubs base runners should be well aware of that going into this series.
Fastball is high. One thing to watch for Jaime Garcia is he will grab a lot of dirt between pitches. He'll just reach down and kind of wipe his hand across the dirt instead of that rosin bag. Ramirez was able to hold up. That's ball 4.
Checks his swing on a high pitch, and he is able to definitely hold up right there. That's going to be a key to this series, I think, is Ramirez's willingness to take the base on balls. I just don't think the Cardinals are going to give him much of an opportunity to do damage in this series.
Jeff Baker, as is normally the case, in there against a lefty. Dave Duncan, the longtime pitching coach. For Baker, this is his 11th start at first. Fastball is high, and Molina will come out and have a brief word with Garcia. Has maybe the reddest glove in baseball. Follow all of today's stats and info in real time with Cubs in-game live only at csnchicago.com. Brought to you by Honda. And a double play ball. 6-4-3. Couple of base runners, but the Cubs again struggling with men in scoring position. Scoreless after 1. Chicago Tribune live on Comcast Sportsnet. Tribune writers, sports stars, and celebrities join host David Kaplan to discuss the day's hottest sports topics and set the table for the night ahead. Chicago Tribune Live, presented by Captain Morgan tonight at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Andy Wells now facing Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman, and David Freese in the second. Holliday drives a first ball he sees in the air out to Marlon Byrd for the out. MVP candidate Lance Berkman has put together a fantastic year in his first year here in St. Louis. 21 road home runs. That leads the league. An all-star starter for the 3rd time, an all-star for the 6th time.
"24 of his 28 home runs have come from the left side of the plate." That pretty much follows his career history. He's always been a much better power hitter, especially from the left side of the plate. This year, no exception. Well, one number that kind of jumped out at me, Len, as you get a look at Berkman in road home runs this season. 77 RBI on the season for Lance Berkman. 26 of those have come with 2 outs in an inning. I didn't really have enough time to do a lot of research to see where that ranks in Major League Baseball, but 1/3 of your RBIs coming with 2 outs on the surface is pretty impressive.
Outside, it's 3-1. Not afraid to take a walk. That's a strike. Actually, as I look at the 2-out RBI leaders, Alfonso Soriano is on the list in the National League. Ryan Howard leads the league with 41 as Berkman takes a close one for ball 4, first base runner for St. Louis.
Yeah, the number 5 pitch you see there on our pitch tracks, the called strike. Number 6, maybe an inch further off of that outside corner. It does not get the call from home plate umpire Scott Berry.
So his 70th walk, 4th most in the league, and now David Freese, the 3rd baseman. Injury plagued this season, had a left-hand fracture that cost him 51 games. He was hit by a pitch on May 1st. And then earlier this month, suffered a mild concussion, was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded in the head, missed 3 games as a result. When he's been healthy, he's been very good. This is not an easy offense to contain. I said they lead the league in runs, batting average, on base percentage. They have the fewest strikeouts. However, by a very wide margin, the most grounded into double plays. It's not even close. Let's put it this way. Freese is grounded into 9. He's not even the team leader. That's caught by Castro. Throw back to first, and Berkman gets back in safely. They have 5 guys who've grounded into double-digit double plays.
Albert Pujols pacing the way with 25 double plays bounced into this year. Freese with a little soft liner that Castro is able to snare. Maybe an ill-advised throw back to first, but 2 outs in the inning here for Yadier Molina. One thing this Cardinals team sorely lacks, which is kind of shocking for those of us who grew up playing against the Cardinals in the 80s, very little base stealing speed. I mentioned Rafael Furcal, a man who's capable of stealing a base but doesn't have the kind of speed he once did. We're well aware of Ryan Theriot and his base stealing ability or lack thereof. Corey Patterson actually has the most stolen bases on the roster, and all 13 of those came as an American leaguer.
Molina has been an all-star 3 consecutive years. In the 3 years prior to this season, a Gold Glove winner. And they sometimes say your offense helps you win the Gold Glove. The question is, could his defense help him win the Silver Slugger? He's at .297 coming into action today. Gets away from Soto, and Berkman races into second without a throw.
Slider off of that outside corner. Once again, perfect blocking position that time by Soto. Unfortunately, the ball just hit him on a bad spot of the chest protector and gets far enough away for Berkman to move into scoring position with 2 outs.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. By the way, my guess is no, that it'll be Brian McCann to win the Silver Slugger, but Molina will at least make it interesting.
Well, and that's a part of his game he's worked very hard to get better at. I mean, everybody knew Yadier Molina was a superior defensive catcher from the moment he strapped on the gear at the major league level. However, he was a very undisciplined free swinger at the plate. Tried to hit a lot of home runs, but as his career has progressed, he has really developed into a good situational hitter. He looks where the holes are in the defense and tries to find a pitch to take advantage of the weaknesses in the defense.
High fly ball, well hit. Bird back to the warning track, and it will get out for a 2-run homer. Yadier Molina with his 9th of the year, and it's 2-0.
Bad location down at the bottom of the strike zone with a little bit of downward movement, but Molina managed to get underneath it, hit it high in the air to left center field. You mentioned that wind blowing off the lake, which means blowing in from right field. Certainly didn't do anything to help knock that one down.
And a called strike on former Cub Ryan Theriot. A big year against his former team. .29 at bats this year against the Cubs. He has 12 hits, including 6 doubles and 9 RBIs for a .414 batting average. heard Todd Hollinsworth mention it on the pregame. Home runs have been an issue for Randy Wells. About 84 innings worth of action. That's his 17th home run he's given up. Last year in 194 1/3, he allowed just 19. Fair ball through the bullpen. Should be a double for Theriot. That's 7 doubles against the Cubs this season for Ryan Theriot in just 9 games.
Wells tries to come in with a fastball here on the 1-2 count. Bites off just a little bit too much of that inside corner, and Theriot able to shoot it past Aramis Ramirez down into the left field corner for a 2-out double.
Again, not a bad pitch, which can be frustrating for a pitcher. Bob, sometimes when you start giving up a lot of hits and home runs on what you think are good pitches, is it just bad luck, or is there a bigger concern there?
Sometimes it's just bad luck, but it makes you question your own stuff and your own movement.
Jaime Garcia with a base hit. Bird up with it. Low throw to the cutoff man. Baker really didn't have a chance, and Garcia knocks in his 5th run of the year. All of a sudden here with 2 outs, 3 consecutive hits, and it's 3-0.
Nice swing by Garcia. You see that wide open stance. He was right on that middle of the plate fastball. Back up the middle, and with 2 outs, Ryan Theriot is off on contact. See Jose Akendo, the third base coach, racing Theriot down that third base line. Cards take a 3-0 lead here in the second.
Back to the top and for call. Ball 1.
Yeah, when to answer your question, you start making good pitches and they still get hit hard. That's when you really start to question things. Am I tipping my pitches? Is the ball not moving like it used to? Is my velocity down?
Liner out to Marlon Byrd. Well, they really squared him up here in this second inning. They get 3 runs, 2 on the homer by Molina, 1 on the hit by the pitcher. It's 3-0.
Tomorrow at 3:10, be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 adults 21 and older will receive a Cubs notepad, compliments of Hollywood Casino. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Well, 3-0 St. Louis. Hey, watch Comcast Sportsnet game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Well, we talked about it on the pregame, but we should make note of it here during the game broadcast. If you missed it earlier today, the Cubs dismissed Jim Hendry as their longtime general manager, basically 9 calendar years, as he was hired by Andy MacPhail back in July of 2002. And Jim had been in the organization for 17 years. On a personal level, we can't thank him enough for all of his assistance in terms of what we do on a daily basis. Soto hits a ground ball. It's backhanded by Furcal. And that's out number 1. We've talked about the baseball stuff. As Jim said, just didn't win enough games, but we wish him the best. When he chooses, he will be back in this game working for somebody for a very long time. I know it was a very emotional and difficult day for him, and on a personal level, I'm going to miss him a lot.
No question about it, Len. He was always more than fair to us. A very upfront guy, very honest, to a fault almost at times, but there's no question he will have a job in this game in the future, in the very near future. He's just so well versed in a number of different aspects of this game. He would be a very valuable asset to any organization.
Jim said he's going to spend some time with his family, 2 great kids. And, you know, he hasn't been able to rest for a long, long time. One of the hardest working people in this business. And we wish him the best. Randy Bush, his assistant, taking over on an interim basis, as Marlon Byrd finds right center for a base hit. But as you heard Chairman Tom Ricketts say before the game, the focus of the search will be outside of the organization, and the new general manager will report directly to the chairman. So 1-out single. Here's Alfonso Soriano.
And it's no secret either, Len, that any job with this Cubs organization in a position of leadership, whether it be the field manager, the general manager, the team president, very attractive job.
Lofted to left, this will be an easy play for Matt Holliday.
You know, for all the reasons that we've documented in the past, the prolonged drought for a world championship team here in Chicago. You've got a great ownership group in place, a good minor league system in place. If you happen to be the guy riding herd on this team when they win that world championship, that is a feather unlike any other you'll be able to put in your cap.
No question. So we'll let that process play out. And no doubt there will be some big changes in the near future with this organization. But it's a wonderful organization, and as you said, a lot of people would love to be a part of it. It's a strike to Darwin Barney. Barney had a good road trip. A lot of that hitting second in the lineup, but with Reed Johnson hitting second today, Darwin in the 8th spot. Hit .458 on the trip. Right, and Berkman almost came in too far. That ball was hit pretty hard by Barney, but for the 3rd out. Shutdown inning for Garcia. 3-zip Cardinals. For just $1.89, but you don't have to remember it to love it. Prices and participation may vary. For a limited time, a la carte only. An early start to your weekend. Cubs baseball on a beautiful day here this Friday afternoon. One and nothing the count on Alan Craig, who grounded out to short in the 1st inning. Cardinals actually, I think for the first time in a while, picked up ground on the Brewers yesterday, and the Cardinals didn't even play. Milwaukee finally lost a game, the final game of their homestand, to the Dodgers, but the Cardinals are still 6.5 out in the division. Also 6.5 back of Atlanta in the wild card, but they're in 3rd in that race. Johnson will make the catch in right. One away.
Well, that's one of the more frustrating things that can happen to you as a team, Len, is when you feel like you're playing good ball, you feel like you're doing things right and getting yourself in a good position to win games, and you look up every morning and you haven't gained an inch in the standings because the team ahead of you is just rolling.
They were actually up by a half a game on July 26th. and got as far back as 7 before picking up a half game while they were idle yesterday. Pujols with a check swing right back to the pitcher Wells, so Albert is 0 for 2. The thing about Pujols, even when he was struggling because Holiday and Berkman were hot to start the year, I mean, they don't have to rely on Pujols to do all the damage. That's why they're the best offense in the league.
Got some very nice, what we like to call in the business, complementary pieces.
The practice run, the Air and Water show.
See and hear a lot of that today.
Fastball strike on the inside corner.
Well, I want those 4 pilots to be my infield defense. If they're that much in sync, traveling at that speed, imagine how they'd work together as a defensive infield.
One and 2. Where would you rather be?
We suffered through a lot of bad weather here at Wrigley early in the season. A lot of incredibly hot and humid days in July and early August, but this is the payoff today. Absolutely beautiful.
Got a Cubs blue hair. Another one bounced in front of the plate. 2 and 2. Games will start later as the weekend goes on. National TV the next 2 days. A 3:10 first pitch tomorrow as Edwin Jackson will face Matt Garza, and then 7:10 on Sunday night, Jake Westbrook and Rodrigo Lopez. Full count, 3 and 2 with Berkman on deck. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Second 1-2-3 inning for Randy Wells. The Thunderbirds in the area. 3-0 St. Louis. Club presented by ComEd, the official kids club of the Chicago Cubs. Help your favorite young Cub fan earn his or her pinstripes as a member of the Cubs Kids Club, and they'll receive kid-specific perks, experiences, and merchandise throughout the 2011 baseball season. Visit Cubs.com to sign up today. One on Randy Wells, batting for the first time this afternoon. Converted catcher. He's a career 176 hitter, including 4 for 26 this season. It's a fastball for a strike. And a base hit, so the pitchers have combined to go 2 for 2.
What was a good at bat by Randy Wells turns out to be a great at bat. Saw 5 pitches that time, ultimately getting a base hit into center field on the 5th pitch. Garcia, on the other hand, picked on the first pitch he saw from Randy Wells. So Randy Wells' hit was better than Garcia's, other than the fact that Garcia drove in a run.
I think I'm following you.
Well, we're trying here. I just like the fact that a pitcher goes to the plate and you don't make a quick 1 pitch out. See some pitches. Force that guy to throw 5 or 6 or 7 pitches to either get you out or finish the at bat. That's going to help your teammates later in the ball game.
Castro's 1 for 1. The 2 losses in Houston meant a series loss for the first time for the Cubs in their last 5 sets. It's been a struggle at home this year, but they have won 7 of their last 9. Cubs are 4 games under here at Wrigley Field. Ontario will spin and get 1. No relay throw by Furcal as Randy Wells came flying in there on a clean slide, trying to break up a potential double play.
Yeah, nice job by Randy Wells. Very little chance to turn this double play on Starlin Castro from the right side of the infield, but Randy Wells makes sure that does not happen. Hard, aggressive slide there, forcing Furcal to clear the way. No relay throw on to first.
Johnson fouled out his first time. Curveball catches a zone, strike 1. Reed's been changing up his facial hair look quite a bit lately. All that's left is that soul patch. Charged by Furcal, and he'll get the out at first. Castro second, 2 outs.
Chopper to the left side, no chance whatsoever to get Castro at second base, so Furcal decides to take the sure out at first, leaving it up to Ramos Ramirez here with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position.
Talking about Jim Hendry's tenure here, Obviously, the Cubs struggled the final 2 years under him as a general manager. But 3 times they went to the playoffs, back-to-back division titles in 07 and 08. And the first Cubs GM whose club made the postseason 3 times. And you think about some of the trades and free agent acquisitions. I think the Ramirez deal with the Pirates, the Derek Lee trade with Florida. Those 2 certainly stand out. How about picking up Jim Edmonds off the scrap heap to help out that 08 team, even though Jim was a hated former Cardinal. Cub fans grew to like him a lot.
Yes, they did.
Mark DeRosa signing.
And the Ted Lilly signing, who helped front a really good pitching staff. I think more than anything else, Len, this is just my own opinion, the lack of pitching depth coming out of spring training this year, and a lot of that was through no fault of Jim's. He had Todd Wellemeyer in camp. He had Braden Looper in camp. We had big dumb Carlos Silva in camp. The idea being you had some protection in your rotation if something happened. Now, unfortunately, the first 2 gentlemen decided to retire, and Carlos Silva had a meltdown and left the organization. And
there's a base hit by Ramirez. Castro coming around. Holiday will just lob it in towards second, and it's an RBI single and an 8-game hitting streak for Ramos. 3-1.
Two-out RBI for Ramirez that time. Garcia bites off a little bit too much plate with that changeup. 84 miles an hour right in the middle of the plate. And with 2 outs, Castro got a great jump and is able to score easily. Just to finish that thought, he had what he thought was some protection for his rotation going into spring training, but when those 3 veteran guys were no longer available and the injuries happened to Wells and Cashner early in the season, it just left the Cubs very short-handed in that starting rotation. And we know that the guys that were plugged in there and tried to fill those roles failed at different degrees, and I just think that was a insurmountable hole early in the season.
One strike to Baker. Make it 0-2. We all tend to try to, or feel like we have to put a stamp on somebody's tenure, whether it's a GM or a manager, and say success or failure. And I guess considering the Cubs didn't win the big one under Jim Hendry, you could say failure. But there were a lot of successes along the way. And in the bigger picture of Cubs history, the standard has been set and the bar has been set higher since he took over. And I think you have to say that he left this organization in better shape than when he took over.
I don't think there's any question about it, man. I think baseball, more than any other professional sports, it isn't always black and white. There's a lot of gray areas, a lot of degrees of success or degrees of failure.
And the other thing, and you heard Jim talk about it, he wanted to see this thing through, but he pointed out all the issues this team has had. And so you don't have to go much further than that. The Cubs haven't won the last 2 years, and they're trying to change that. So there will be a new person in charge, a new voice, so to speak, to head up the baseball operations. I'm just not sure who that will be.
With that comes an incredible amount of insecurity for a lot of people within the organization who are either closely or indirectly tied to that general manager.
Baker fouled that one off his front foot. Still 2-2. A 2-out RBI single by Ramirez gets the Cubs on the board. St. Louis got 3 in the second. Shallow center, and Craig caught it. Alan Craig in his first career game in center, able to make A big catch to end the inning. Laz Diaz went out and made the call from first base, and he did catch it. That was a good call. 3-1.
KFC, feed 4 or more with the KFC 10-piece family feast, just $20.
Underway here in the fourth. It's Berkman with a walk in the first run. One to the switch hitting Berkman is hit foul. Well, in this homestand, we're going to see two of the best switch hitters of all time, Berkman and Chipper Jones, who homered last night as the Braves beat the Giants. Nobody's hit for more power overall than Lance Berkman in the entire league. Easy play for Darwin Barney. Short toss and the out. It was great to see the Menards grounds crew smoothing out the infield dirt after the third inning. It was a 1-0 Braves win, so Jones with the home run in the fifth, the only run, as Mike Minor outdueled Tim Lincecum. Braves won 3 of 4 in that big series. That's what I'm talking about. You're only as old or as young as you feel.
That's a Donald Trump mohawk there.
Yes, sir. 1-1 to Freeze. Low, 2 balls and a strike. Driven in the air, deep right center and gone. David Freeze with his 8th of the year. Again, the wind's not going to help a ball like that, but he hit it hard. You talk sometimes, Bob, about a thin wind, and it might be that kind of wind today.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be affecting much of anything down there on the field of play. That slider rolled up there on the inside part of the plate. Our HP touchpad home run replay. David Freese going to the opposite field. That's something Randy Wells has to avoid. Not so much the home run itself, but hitters' counts. You either have to throw a fastball somewhere they can't hit it hard, but in the strike zone, or on something other than a fastball. And that time he tried to go to the slider. Unfortunately, left it right in the middle of the plate. We talked about it down in St. Louis last time we were there, Len. We haven't seen a lot of David Freese. You mentioned the injuries that he suffered over the last couple of years, and we haven't seen that much of him, but he's a pretty impressive looking hitter.
Molina, who had hit a home run his last time up, flies out to Johnson. 2 outs. Freese chatting with his hitting coach, Mark McGuire. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. Whom did Albert Pujols replace at first with the start of the 2004 season? Played a lot of left prior to that year, even though he was battling a bad elbow. And I think the answer is Tino Martinez.
I would tend to agree with you, yeah.
Terrio shoots that ball the other way, foul.
The bigger trivia question is going to be who replaced Albert Pujols at first base when Albert decides it's time to hang it up. Probably not the guy on the right.
Inside 1-2. Popped up right side. Barney with the flip downs. Sun is a concern at this time of the day, as David Freese with a 1-out opposite field home run has now made it 4-1 St. Louis.
Whom did Albert Pujols replace at first base with the start of the 2004 season? Len and I both guessed Tino Martinez. Hey, what do you know? We got one right.
standard guess is Mark McGuire. There was Tino in between.
And Tino Martinez was a real good player in his own right. I think back to that 0-1 World Series against the Yankees. They had a lot of great hitters in that lineup. Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, Scott Brocious, Paul O'Neill, on and on and on. And the one guy that I and my coaching staff were really concerned with was Tino Martinez over there at first base. And indeed, he came up with some big hits for the Yankees back in that 0-1 series.
2-1 on Soto, who came in with 5 hits over his last 2 games, 2 doubles and a home run included. Garcia grabbing a little dirt right behind the pitching rubber.
Yeah, some pitchers just don't like to use the rosin, Len. As you sweat and that rosin is in your hand, it gets real tacky, almost gummy, to the point where it's hard to release the baseball. Garcia apparently just prefers the drying action of that dirt out there on the pitcher's mound, and it doesn't form into something very sticky that he has trouble dealing with. He's going to go to the rosin just a little bit, but then right to the dirt.
Mentioned he was born in Mexico, but he grew up in Mission, Texas. Together a fantastic rookie year last year, finished 3rd in the voting as Bird breaks his bat and flies to Holiday for the out.
Hey fans, be sure to stop by the Wrigleyville Block Party this weekend at the corner of Clark and Addison. With free entry to all ages, the Wrigleyville Block Party will offer live music, family-friendly activities, special giveaways, and food and drinks from 11 to 8 today and tomorrow, from 2 to 7:30 on Sunday. Don't miss all the fun before, during, and after the games this weekend at the Wrigleyville Block Party.
A strike to Soriano. You know, Castro and Garcia picked the wrong year to have great rookie seasons last year. It was one of the best rookie classes in the National League in a long time. Buster Posey won it. Jason Hayward finished 2nd. But in a lot of other years, they could have been the rookie of the year. Speaking of that, the rookie of the year in 08 is standing at first base, Giovanni Soto. And the guy who won it 7 years prior, standing right next to him, Albert Pujols. High and outside on a curveball, 1-2. I always try not to say the defending rookie of the year, because you can't really defend your title.
No.
Once you've won it, that's it. Really, you only get one shot at it. They turn it. 5-4-3 to end the inning. That's the second double play ball coaxed by Garcia. 4-1 Cardinals after 4. 5-3. If you are the 500th texter, you could win $5 footlong subs from Subway. More flyovers today. The water and air show here in Chicago this weekend. The pitcher Garcia will lead it off here in the 5th with the 2000 NL Rookie of the Year on deck. Coming out of the woodwork, Rafael Furcal.
You could get a pretty good argument going among baseball people asking which shortstop had the better arm during their playing days, Rafael Furcal or Sean Dunston. Two of the best throwing shortstop to ever put on a uniform.
Jeff Baker will take it by himself. Want to see a Cub game from the front row here at Wrigley Field? Now you can visit Cubs.com and click on the CBOE front row seats auction to bid on tickets in the front row behind home plate and along the first base line. Front row seats will be auctioned off to every game all season long. Don't miss your chance. Go to Cubs.com and check out the CBOE front row seats auction today. Sean Dunston liked to show off that cannon, and Rafael Furcal does too. Never been a Gold Glover, and I think one of the reasons is that arm can sometimes get a little wild.
Yep. Sometimes you put a little too much confidence in that arm and don't rely enough on your footwork.
Committed at least 20 errors in 6 different seasons. Including a career high 31 back in 2003. He's played a little second, but mostly short. Off the plate inside. And he got his career started that Rookie of the Year campaign in 2000 with Atlanta. He beat out Ozzie Guillen, made the club out of spring training. Jumped from Class A ball the previous year to the majors in 2000.
The biggest knock on Furcal throughout his career, other than the high error totals, is the fact that he always felt he was a home run hitter. A guy that had a lot of lift in his swing, made a lot of lazy outs to the outfield, when especially earlier in his career, he was a little like Tony Campana. He could outrun defensive plays on the infield if he would just put the ball in play on the ground. But for a number of years at the beginning of his career, hit a lot of balls in the air, kept that average down there a lot lower than it should have been, the on-base percentage a lot lower, and didn't fully take advantage of his speed.
And he does draw the walk. Certainly would compare him to Jimmy Rollins, although I would say Jimmy Rollins has been more consistent. He's received more accolades over the course of his career. But switch hitting guys who play short have run well and occasionally try to hit the ball out of the park. Strike to Craig on a slider.
Randy,
0-2 to Craig.
Randy doesn't really need to concern himself too much with Rafael Furcal over there at first base. Just make sure he doesn't get a walking lead. If you can make him stop, go from a standing start to steal the base, it's going to be very tough, and Giovanni Soto is going to have a legitimate opportunity to throw him out. And the easiest way to do that is just alter your delivery to home plate. Come set and deliver the ball quickly on the first pitch. Come set and hold the ball for a count or two. Come set and hold the ball until somebody calls timeout. Just don't give him any kind of rhythm that he can gauge over there at first base.
Pujols is 0 for 2. He's on deck. In fact, the top 4 guys haven't done a whole lot. Furcal with the walk, the first among the top 4 to reach base in this game off Wells. 2-2. 6-hitter, the 7-hitter, and the 9-hitter with RBI hits. And Furcal's going to try it. Here's a throw. He's in. Little bit of a risk, but he got in. Second wild pitch of the day for Wells.
Now a risk because Furcal did not break immediately when that ball is in the dirt. He did not take off until he saw it squirt up that first baseline a considerable distance. Only then did he turn and break for second. But unfortunately, the throw just high enough to allow him to slide in on his belly underneath Starlin Castro's tag.
Well, Mark Riggins on the phone. Ramon Ortiz is going to grab a ball in the bullpen. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Randy took a little bit off of that slider that time, changed speeds, got Craig out in front with the swing and a miss, and then that situation we saw a couple times earlier this year, a base open and Big Albert at the plate. We know he hurt the Cubs badly, so Mike Waddy is going to make sure that does not happen again today. As easy a decision as you might think, however. Albert struck out his first at bat, didn't look real good doing it, and then a check swing tapper back to the mound in his second at bat.
But then you try not to get fooled by 2 outs that he made.
Well, I just think strategically this sets up better for the Cubs. It gives them a force play at any base on the infield. If Holiday would happen to hit a ball between the hole at third and short, Castro might be able to get the lead runner at third base to end the inning. Anytime you can take the bat out of Albert Pujols' hands, I think it's a real good idea.
So he's walked intentionally for the 9th time this year. And Holiday pops it up. Baker will have space to make the catch, and that'll end the inning. A couple of walks, but no runs. Halfway home, it's 4-1 Cardinals. Got a couple of changes here. John Jay is now playing center for Alan Craig. I believe that's it. You wonder if there's an injury. Craig, by the way, missed 54 games with a fractured right kneecap and came back a little over a week ago. Not sure if it's related as Darwin Barney turns on one deep to left. Into the basket, a home run. It's 4-2. Some rare power from Darwin Barney, just his second homer of the season and his career.
Our HP touchpad home run replay. Just a changeup once again, down and in, right in Darwin Barney's wheelhouse. He measures it perfectly, just enough to get it into the basket, close to that left field foul pole.
First homer since the first of his career, which was April 25th off Esmail Rogers of the Rockies here at Wrigley. So 2 career homers, both in this ballpark. One and 2 to Randy Wells. Bullpen is quiet after Ortiz got up briefly at the top of this inning.
After Randy Wells, Garcia will be working his way through the Cubs lineup for the 3rd time, and past history is any indication. Look for him to throw a lot more breaking balls the next time through the Cubs lineup. That's something Dave Duncan does regularly, developing a game plan for his starting pitcher. Start the game maybe using fastball, changeup, incorporate the curveball the second time through the lineup, or the slider the 3rd time through the lineup. So I fully expect to see a lot more off-speed pitches from Garcia when we roll back around to the top of the order for the 3rd time.
Bouncer is cut off by Freeze. The spin, the throw, and the out.
Got a note here, Len. Happy belated anniversary to Hilda and Jack Olive, longtime Cubs fans. Not sure how belated we are, but happy anniversary to Hilda and Jack.
Here is Castro for the 3rd time. 1 for 2 with a run. The hit was the 300th of his young and what will hopefully be a long, long career. Be foul. Bob, remember Jerome Williams?
Sure.
Former Giant and former Cub. You know, he's been called up by the Angels for his first major league action since 2007.
Good for
Great
him.
to see Jerome back in the big leagues. Mark Trumbo last night, a game-ending 2-run homer to beat Texas as the Angels avoided the sweep. Soft liner out in the left. Castro with his second hit. "46 times this year he's had at least 2 hits.
It's just enough this time on a 2-strike count. Massage that ball over the head of Rafael Furcal into left field for his second hit of the game.
As we look around baseball, we mentioned Chipper Jones providing the only run. And the Angels really had to win that game, or they would have been swept in a 4-game series. As it is, they're still 6 games back in the American League West, behind the Texas Rangers, who are here in Chicago to play the White Sox this weekend.
Well, the real difference in that American League West is the way Texas has handled their own division. 13 games over 500 against the American League West for the Rangers this year.
Matt Harrison, Jake Peavy, the scheduled starters tonight. Kosuke Fukudome, 3 hits, including a go-ahead RBI triple. And the Indians' 4-2 win on the south side last night. He also hit that shot off the face of Phil Humber that knocked Humber out of the game, and as you heard Dave Kaplan say, to the DL today. Inside corner, 1-2 to Johnson. Castro takes off, a swing and a miss for strike 3. Runner at second now with 2 outs. Win a VIP baseball experience presented by Captain Morgan. Go to Cubs.com/captain. So 14 stolen bases now for Castro, 1 off Tony Campana's team lead of 15. And that was the first strikeout of the day for Jaime Garcia. Broken bat, the bat was fair, the ball was foul.
Garcia will feature a little cutter from time to time. Looks like a straight fastball, but has just a little bit of movement in on the hands of a right-handed hitter. It appeared that's what sawed off Ramirez's bat that time.
For call, will go get it. Low throw, but Pujols was able to dig it out and save a run. Darwin Barney led off the inning with a home run to make it 4-2 for the Redbirds. This coming Tuesday, August 23rd at 7:05 here at Wrigley Field. Be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans get a Cubs camouflage cap, compliments of Vegas. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Randy Wells kind of surviving today. Going to keep his team in this ball game right now, trailing 4-2 in the 6th. Fortunately, Randy's done a lot of surviving this season. I mean, just kind of hanging around to get 6 innings in, and a lot of times he's given up 3 or 4 runs. He's got an ERA that's near 6. He had one of his last 2 decisions coming in. I think he'd be the first to tell you that he needs to be better. He's allowed 2 home runs in this game. Oh, and 2 to Berkman.
I think sometimes, Len, you can tell as much by how the outs are hit as you can by the hits that a pitcher gives up. It's been kind of a mixed bag for Randy today. He's given up some hard hit balls for outs, and then he's also gotten some balls put into play weakly, including that check swing grounder from Albert Pujols right back to the mound. But when you see a lot of very hard hit balls go for outs, it tends to make you think that he's getting by with something on a given day.
Trying to put away Berkman here with another 0-2, and he did.
Time to take a look at our Coors Light freeze cam. Appropriately enough, David Freese with a home run off a slider from Randy Wells right in the middle of the plate. To his credit, David Freese did not try to pull that pitch, just got the barrel of the bat on it and rode it out of here to right center field for a long solo home run. Freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Mentioned the injuries. We talked about this year's problems. Last year, he had surgery on both ankles. The season ended in late June. Call, strike 3, 2 outs.
Two quick outs here in the inning for Randy Wells. They want to bear down now on Yadier Molina. Make this a relatively easy inning. Get your team back up there at the plate as quickly as possible.
Strike to Molina, who gave the Cardinals their original 2-0 lead with a homer in the 2nd. Molina served a 5-game suspension earlier this month after a run-in with umpire Rob Drake in Milwaukee. A little out of character in terms of just how vociferous Molina was in that argument. Little bump, little unintentional spittle happened to be involved. Anytime I can use the word spittle, I will. And he later apologized for his actions, took the penalty without an appeal, then reportedly got into an argument with his backup Gerald Laird at the team hotel in Florida on that same trip, but the Cardinals quickly indicated that it blew over.
It was just a little spittle.
A little spattle. The 2-1. Hit hard on one hop, knocked down by Barney. Plenty of time. 1-2-3 for the 3rd time today. from Randy Wells, but he trails 4-2. VIP Living Legend Tour. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity gives you the chance to hear the stories from the players who lived them firsthand. Join legendary former Cubs player Steve Trout tomorrow at 11:15. For more information or to purchase tickets, call 1-800-THE-CUBS or visit Cubs.com. Ball one on Jeff Baker. Bottom 6. Swing and a miss. Just a change up. Pujols can't get it. Just slipped under his glove and into right for a base hit.
Well, if Pujols can't get a ground ball to the right side, it probably can't be gotten. He plays as far off of that first base line as any first baseman this side of Prince Fielder. And with a dive, can't knock that one down. Jeff Baker earned that base hit.
They'll try to turn 2, and they've got time to do it. Wow, what a dig again by Pujols. He's made a couple of excellent plays on low throws as they turn their third twin killing of the afternoon.
Not a real well-timed double play, but with Giovanni Soto running, the Cardinals had a little more time for call with a little bit of a double clutch before getting rid of it. Terrio right there had trouble finding the grip on the ball and makes a bad throw to first, but Pujols with the good dig completes the 6-4-3 double play.
As Marlon Byrd steps in, we look around this ballpark today, and you might say to yourself, this looks like the biggest crowd I've seen here since opening day in 1978. And if you had that thought, you'd be right. 42,343. So it's the most people to attend a Cubs game at Wrigley Field in 33 years.
Well, I was thinking this might be the biggest crowd of the year. I didn't know it went that far back, but it was pretty easy to tell even early this morning out on the streets around Wrigley Field, up and down the pubs and bars and restaurants of Wrigleyville, you could tell it was going to be a full house today.
Bird skies to right, where Lance Berkman is going to make the catch. And an 8-pitch inning, as Garcia has been helped out by that double play ball all afternoon. Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action. Air and Water Show this weekend here in Chicago, and a pretty impressive display. And they're moving pretty fast.
Yes, they are. Not so much when they're in formation like that, but there are occasions over the course of the next couple days for the Air and Water Show where they will run wide open down the lakefront. That is quite a spectacle.
Longtime host of CNN, Larry King Live. I can't think of his name here. Oh, Larry King.
Yeah, Larry King.
Will conduct the 7th inning stretch. We look forward to that. 25 years as the CNN host. He'll conduct the 7th inning stretch. (3-0) on Ryan Terrio. Garcia's on deck. Jaime Garcia trying to beat the Cubs for the 3rd time already this season. Randy Wells now over 100 pitches. This probably will be his final inning. In fact, I know it will. He's due to lead off, or to hit 3rd in the bottom of this inning. 3-2. Lefty James Russell is up. Kyle McClellan getting loose and having a little fun while doing so. Starlin Castro will make the catch and retire his former teammate.
I would guess that James Russell is getting ready just in case the Cardinals get down to that number 2 spot in the lineup where John Jay has taken over for Alan Craig. Jay, a left-handed hitter. If the Cardinals have a chance to make some noise, we would probably see James Russell in the game to face the left-handed hitting Jay. The wind helped push that one up into the stands just enough. Looked like Soriano might have enough room right along the edge over there, but that wind continues to blow in from right field.
An area Cub fans are all too familiar with. But as is kind of proven by that right there, fans are going to go for the ball. It's their natural instinct. Whether the home team has a shot at it or not. Broken bat grounder to Barney. 2 down. For a call with 2 outs, 0 for 2 with a walk. A fastball in there for a strike.
I mentioned that James Russell was warming, possibly in anticipation of a John Jay at bat here in this inning, but Jeff Samardzija has now joined left-hander James Russell just in case you get past John Jay into those right-handed hitters in the middle of the Cardinal lineup. You'd like to think you make that change, bring a lefty in on a left-handed hitter, and you get out of the inning. No harm, no foul, but just in case things go sideways, you better have a righty ready to go for Pujols and Holiday.
High fly out into right center. Bird calling off Reed Johnson. Larry King with the stretch.
He's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, legendary journalist Larry King.
Okay, fans, you know what to do. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. So it's root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Go!
Great to have with us a member of 5 Broadcasting Halls of Fame and a longtime host of his own program on CNN, Larry King. Nice job. You can sing too.
Wow, fella. Well, all my life I wanted to be Victor Moan. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a great setting, and it's fun being out here. And there's no atmosphere like Wrigley.
I know you Grew up in Brooklyn, rooting for the Dodgers, correct?
Sure did.
And so moved out to L.A. And
yeah, the Dodgers were as part of the community as the Cubs are to the north end of Chicago. We owned when they left. That was the saddest day. I was at Jackie Robinson's first game, sat out in the bleachers, 50 cents. Interviewed him before he died. Never lost that. I left Brooklyn, but Brooklyn never left me. So now I got two little boys. They play Little League, go to all the Dodger games. But this year, it's been a catastrophe there. It's sad.
It's been tough. Well, we know you have to run here. I wanted to ask you one question about your interviewing style. And I once heard that you didn't tell people what you were going to ask them off the air. Is that true?
True. I never had a written question, and everything came off the top. And the key to interviewing was listening. I asked short questions, always had a question mark at the end. Listen to the answer and try to follow it up.
And a little slip by Berkman, and it's going to cost him. Barney on his way to second, and he's going to head toward third. And that'll be a triple for Darwin Barney. So the tying run will come to the plate. It'll be a pinch hitter here. And again, Larry, I know you've got a busy day today. Thanks so much for stopping by. And I did hear everything you say, even though I had to call that play.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much for stopping by, Larry.
Thanks. Great hosts. Thanks, fellas.
That's Larry King. And it will be Blake DeWitt to take this at bat. Yeah, I'd always heard that about Larry, that he didn't pre-screen his questions. And it's true. And I didn't pre-screen that question. I didn't tell Larry, I'm going to ask you if you don't ask them the question before you ask them. But I should have if I had thought about it before, and it would have been ironic, right?
Yeah.
DeWitt grounds it foul. Darwin Barney today. He's got a homer and a triple. He's got the two tough ones out of the way. I don't know if he'll get two more at bats. John Jay misplays it. Barney's in. DeWitt on his way to third. So a slip by Berkman in right, a total misplay by Jay in center, and the Cubs are in business 4-3. The tying run is 90 feet away.
Well, this ball was absolutely smoked. Jay came in place of Alan Craig in center field. Jay, a much more experienced defender out there in center, but he totally misplays this ball. Comes in 3 or 4 steps, then has to reverse direction, runs all the way back to the vines while Blake DeWitt is circling the bases. He ends up at third. Back-to-back triples for the Cubs.
Jason Mott, hard-throwing right-hander. It's the Verizon call to the pen. Some bad luck here for Jaime Garcia. Those balls were hit hard. It's 4-3 St. Louis. Verizon call to the pen. Here's Jason Mott with the Cardinal infield now coming in. Middle guys came scampering in at the last possible second. The tying run at third, 1 out, and Starlin Castro at the dish.
Hard throwing Jason Mott features 3 different kinds of fastballs, a 4-seamer in the mid to upper 90s, a hard sinking 2-seamer, and a cutter. He's only allowed 4 base runners in his last 12 appearances. 2 walks, a hit, and a hit batter.
Former catcher. Got a few of those in the ballpark, including the guy sitting next to me. Here's the 1-1. Castro hits it foul. Right side out of play. This is the spot the Cubs really struggled with in that Houston series. Now Blake DeWitt just hit a triple to knock in Barney. Man, that runner at third with less than 2 outs. Especially the tying run. You want to get him in. Don't know if you're going to have another chance. The 1-2 pitch, another foul.
This particular infield defense by the Cardinals, and Tony La Russa has done this pretty much everywhere he's been. He starts with those middle infielders back with a runner at third, and then they come charging in as the pitch is delivered. I think initially it was meant to deceive the third base coach and the runner at third into maybe running into an easy out at home plate on a ground ball to the infield, but everybody in baseball is aware of it now.
Big strikeout for Mott. And with 2 outs, everybody can move back, although Reed Johnson could lay down a bunt, so the corner men will probably stay in a little bit. Well, that's a tough pitch to handle.
Yeah, that's that 2-seamer at 97 with just enough of a sinking, tailing action to get it in underneath the hands of Starlin Castro for strike 3.
Back-to-back 1-out triples have made it a 1-run game. Mott's trying to keep it that way. Here's the pitch. 0-2. Mott doesn't quite have the Brian Wilson beard, but that looks like a few months worth right there. I think the carpet in my basement's as thick as that beard. Man, not as long as that, but it's thick.
That's what he's going to look like come spring training next year.
Ground ball to the shortstop for call, and Mott did his job. And Garcia still has a chance for the win. Cubs strand a man at third. They did get 1. It's 4-3, and here comes Samardzija. Right-hander Jeff Samardzija is on. Cubs trailing by a run, 4-3. Samardzija will try to keep it that way. We mentioned the largest Wrigley Field crowd since opening day 1978. John Jay finds the hole on the left side in his first at bat. It's coming in for Craig in the 5th inning. Jay takes off. Pujols swings and misses. They got him. Soto to Barney.
Like a broken hit and run. Albert swings right through the pitch. That makes Jay extremely susceptible down there at second base. Good throw. Good tag. First out of the inning right there.
Well, there was a lot of looked like contact there too as Pujols swung through that pitch. Thought he might have tapped Soto with a backswing, but it doesn't matter in the end. He threw him out.
Is not averse to using his big boy to play hit and run. You'll see that look like some contact right there. Maybe it's some foot contact on the play. We've talked about that many times. The catcher is required to do two things on that play: make contact with the batter and throw the ball to second base. As you said, that time it didn't matter that much. Pujols didn't really interfere with Giovanni Soto's throw to second base, but certainly enough grounds there to call interference on the hitter because he did make contact with Gio.
Soto couldn't, or Pujols couldn't hold up. 3-2.
Well, Albert can't believe it. Good slider by Jeff Samardzija in a great location just off that outside corner and down.
That time he was able to hold.
That Holiday, one of the Cardinals hitters that you mentioned earlier, grounding into double plays at a double-digit rate. He's done it 16 times this season. If Jeff can keep that sinker, slider, splitter combination down there around the knees, see if he can get a ground ball at one of his infielders here.
You may remember on July 30th in St. Louis, Holiday made a key hard slide to break up a potential double play. It was a game turner as the Cardinals erased an early 5-0 deficit. The win 13-5. 3-1. Berkman would hit next. Popped up right side, and Barney with a better angle on it will take it from Baker. And Holliday's 0 for 4. The new Bud Light Bleachers Series provides fans with exciting new opportunities in the Bud Light bleachers this season, including free T-shirt Mondays, $3 12-ounce draft Bud and Bud Light Tuesday nights, and $1 Vienna Beef Hot Dog Wednesdays. Tuesday night special also available in select locations in the Seating Bowl. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Well, that's a trend you hope continues throughout this 3-game series. Holliday really having trouble catching up to fastballs on that inner third of the plate on the inside corner. A couple of feeble pop-ups to the right side of the infield, a strikeout, and a lazy fly ball to center field so far today.
A lot of the best hitters in baseball have a very majestic, smooth swing. Lance Berkman's not that kind of guy. When he swings and misses, it can sometimes look a little ugly.
And unfortunately, when he does swing and make contact, he lays the bat down as gently as any hitter I've ever seen. From the left side of the plate, it's almost as if the bat is made out of glass, and he wants to make sure it doesn't shatter when he lays it on the ground.
Darwin Barney to Jeff Baker. 2 base runners in the inning, but no runs. So Samardzija does his job, and it's still 4-3 to the bottom of the 8th. Cap, thanks. Big swing and a foul by Aramis Ramirez. One strike on him. Jason Mott came on with a runner at third, 1 out, and there was the tying run, in fact. And he struck out Castro and got Johnson to ground out to short to end the threat. For call, 1 away. The Daily Double Burger is back for a limited time at participating McDonald's for $1.89. And with Mike Quaddy going with Carlos Pena, Tony La Russa is going to counter with Arthur Rhodes. Instead of Mott Baker, it'll be Rhodes Pena. And it's the Verizon call to the pen. Corey Patterson, former Cub, is coming on. We'll sort out all the changes when we come back. "41-year-old Arthur Rhodes is on. He signed as a free agent 1 week ago after being released by Texas.
Corey Patterson also takes over in right field as part of the double switch for Lance Berkman. There was a time Arthur Rhodes was an extremely hard thrower early in his career. For the first time in his career, the average velocity on his fastball has dipped below 90, 89.1 miles per hour on the fastball this year. Also throws a hard slider.
He was an all-star last year, first time all-star with Cincinnati at age 40. Gave up the walk-off home run to Garrett Jones the other night in Pittsburgh. One strike on pinch hitter Carlos Pena. Probably a one and done for Rhodes. He's trying to get Pena, and then Al McClellan is up in the Cardinal pen and would probably face Soto.
This figures to be Arthur Rhodes' role, one of his roles with the ball club the remainder of the season, to come in and face that one lefty in the opposing lineup when there's a string of righties coming up after him. But for me, Arthur Rhodes' delivery really doesn't offer a lot of deception, doesn't have a lot of movement on his fastball to a left-handed hitter. It's not an uncomfortable at bat for a left-handed hitter against Arthur Rhodes.
A little bit outside. Always been a good strikeout pitcher. Pop foul. According to Baseball Reference, on the strikeouts per 9 innings list, the career list, he's 12th. 8.741. Randy Johnson is the all-time leader. Kerry Wood is second.
This is the 885th appearance for Arthur Rhodes in his career. Among active players, only Mariano Rivera has been in more games.
He was in the Orioles organization from the time he was drafted in 1988 until after the '99 season. And he's bounced around a lot since. Seattle, Oakland, Cleveland, Phillies, Seattle again, Florida. The Reds, the Rangers, and now the Cardinals. 3-2. He's a starter early in his career, but has not pitched as a starter since 1996. Ball 4 on a close one. Will probably be it for Rhodes.
What a good at bat that time by Carlos Pena. Ultimately takes that slider low out of the strike zone. As Tony La Russa is wont to do, he's going to play matchups the rest of this ball game.
Former starter Kyle McClellan, the Verizon call to the pen. We'll be back. Appearance this season for Kyle McClellan after 17 starts. He was replaced in the rotation by Edwin Jackson, who was acquired from the White Sox. McClellan had a .421 as a starter, .260 out of the pen. And the 0-1 to Soto. That's a strike on a slow curve. 0-2. Runner at first, 1 out, 4-3 St. Louis. Pena doesn't take a chance.
Well, you really need to break when you see the trajectory of that pitch headed for the dirt. If you wait until that ball hits Yadier Molina and bounces away, he's probably going to get on it and throw you out at second base. You could see Pena with a little bit of a false start. Even if he had gone when he started the false start, he probably would have been thrown out.
Fair ball, left field corner. Holiday chases it down. Pena's going to be sent, and he should score easily. Giovanni Soto has tied it up at 4 apiece.
That ball was absolutely crushed down that third baseline. A two-seam fastball right over the heart of the plate for Giovanni Soto. So many of his hits recently have come right down that third baseline. This one no exception. By the time Holiday tracks it down at the base of the left field wall, Pena had chugged all the way around from first base to tie it up.
Now 2 shots to grab the lead. Give Marmol a save chance in the ninth. Bounce to short for call. 2 down. That run charged to Arthur Rhodes, who walked Pena.
Good career numbers for Soriano against the Cardinals right-hander. 3 for 7 lifetime with a homer and a double. Last time he faced him, he took him deep.
And that got a piece of Soriano. He'll take first. Ed Halbert checking on him.
Looks like it got him on the right arm, the back arm, as he turns into this two-seamer, tailing up and in. Like it caught him on that right forearm near the elbow somewhere.
Stay in is Darwin Barney, who has homered and tripled in his last 2 at bats. Chance to be the hero.
What a lousy, well-placed single right here.
Colvin on deck in the pitcher's spot. Looks like we're going to see Carlos Marmol in the ninth either way for the first time since he blew the save and took the loss Tuesday night in Houston.
Middle of the plate cutter that time to Darwin Barney. Maybe the best pitch to hit he'll get in this sequence. We'll see how it goes. Cullen works that fastball both directions, throws a two-seamer that tails into the righties, a cutter that moves away. Two strikes, 2 outs in the inning. Giovanni Soto, the runner at second base, should be off and moving if he sees Darwin Barney even start that bat.
Patterson battling the sun, but he's done that before here at Wrigley Field. Makes a catch, and the inning is over. They tie it on the Soto double. We go to the ninth, 4-4.
Switch take over in left field. He will lead off the bottom half of the ninth inning. Carlos Pena, who pinch hit for Jeff Baker, will stay in and play defensively at first base. And on the mound for the Cubs, closer Carlos Marmol, looking to save a tie here today.
And he's looking for a bounce back outing after the rough one in Houston. Face David Freese to start it. Sliders inside, ball one. Two and one. Mike Quaddy talked the other day about the velocity being down for Carlos Marmol. He's right. I mean, it's very noticeable. On Fangraphs, they had his fastball clocked at 94.1, the average velocity last year. This year it's under 92. That's significant. might explain why he's throwing it less frequently. Swing and a miss. He got him on the slider.
Slider right down there where you like it, below the knees on that outside corner, nearly an unhittable pitch.
All sliders so far in this inning. That's the first fastball.
Well, you can just tell by the reaction of hitters, in this case Yadier Molina, when Marmol's throwing that fastball for strikes, especially like that last one right on the outside corner. That throws a whole monkey wrench into their plan of attack up there at the plate.
Molina 6 for 10 against Marmol, make it 6 for 11. 2 down.
As a hitter, you may go to the plate against Carlos Marmol and tell yourself, I'm going to give him that fastball because I don't believe he can throw it for a strike often enough to worry about it. I'm just going to look for a slider in the strike zone. But when he's able to spot that fastball, especially on the outside corner, that changes everything. Now you've got to respect that pitch.
Terrio 2 for 2 with 2 doubles against his former teammate. Big game tying RBI double off Marmol on June 5th with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, and the Cardinals would win it in the following inning. Nice play by Barney. He was backpedaling, which makes it maybe a more difficult play, but a 1-2-3 ninth for Marmol. The Cubs have a chance to win it when we come back. Is on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in as the Fire go for a win against Toronto FC at Toyota Park. Don't miss a minute of the action. Fire Toronto FC Sunday at 6 only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Let's see if speedy Tony Campana can get on here against right-hander Kyle McClellan. A 4-4 tie in the ninth. The Cubs have erased a 4-1 deficit. Cardinals have been held to just 5 hits today. Cubs have doubled them up. They have 10.
The word is definitely out on Tony Campana around the National League. The Cardinals defensively playing in front of double play depth with Campana at the plate and nobody on.
Bobble by Terrio late. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. An error on Terrio. He got caught in no man's land. Should I charge? Should I wait? Ball got out of his mitt. And the winning run is on base.
17th error of the season for Ryan Terrio. Charges a half a step, holds his ground. Should have been a routine play, just mishandled it from the glove to the bare hand, and that's all Tony Campana needs. Any slight bobble.
I think you got to be really aggressive here, don't you? You got your fastest guy on base, nobody out.
Guy at the plate that has not put down a sac bunt yet this year, although he's a tremendous contact hitter. You might see a little hit and run, maybe a straight steal, but I don't think you're going to see Castro put down a bunt.
Cubs have struggled to get guys in. See if Mike Quade pushes some buttons.
Moderate lead that time by Tony Campana. Wanted to see a move from Kyle McClellan before he gets out there to his maximum leadoff. He could probably get another step, step and a half, maybe 2 steps on that leadoff.
Two and 0. John Jay playing about as deep as you can as a center fielder in this ballpark. I think that really benefits Starlin Castro, who likes to hit the ball back up the middle. Well, they might not win the game here, but it's singles territory for him.
And a base hit up the middle of the field with Jay playing that deep might allow Tony Campana to turn the corner and head on to third base.
And you get what Tony's doing here. He's just trying not to lose the game in this at bat. Let's see if the Cubs can take advantage. Campana goes, and a swing and a fly ball, and Campana trying to locate the ball. He's going to be doubled off. Has no idea where the ball is. That's a double play. He slid into second, jumped up, and both base coaches, I'm sure, were screaming at him, but he just didn't know where it was.
A great decoy in the middle of the field. Watch the Cardinals' middle infielders simulating a double play. At this point, Tony has no idea where the ball is. The first thing you have to do is immediately pick up your coach. Tony was looking around, trying to figure out where the ball was hit. By the time he realized it was in the air to center field, he didn't have enough time to get back to first. Oh, what a great deke by the Cardinals' middle infielders.
There's a strike on Reed Johnson. Now, Bob, as we watch Campana, he never did look at the plate. Is that any indication of no hit and run? Because usually guys will look.
Yeah, that was a straight steal all the way for Tony Campana. And that being the case, it makes you wonder why Starlin Castro didn't take that pitch and give Tony a chance to steal second base. I mean, obviously you want to swing at good pitches. If they're in the strike zone, you want to have a good pass at them. But if you see that your teammate gets a tremendous jump over there at first base, even if it puts you in a 2-strike hole, You need to take that pitch and allow your teammate a chance to get into scoring position.
A 1-1 to Johnson. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit. His first of the afternoon.
Johnson stays hot. Once again, right off the barrel. Hard ground ball back up the middle of the field. Just out of the reach of Rafael for a call for a base hit into center.
Manager has his arms around Tony Campana. A teaching moment. Ramirez takes a fastball off the outside corner. Ramirez is 0 for 8 versus Kyle McClellan in his career. With a 2-0 curveball for a strike. 0 for 8 with a walk. Guys, who's had a lot of success is Alfonso Soriano, 3 for 7 with a double and a homer going into play today. But remember, Soriano was hit by a pitch in the 8th and taken out before the 9th. 2-2. Again, Cardinal outfield as deep as they possibly can play. They're all just a few feet from the warning track. Johnson will go with this 3-2 pitch. And here it is. Ball 4. It's 3 base runners this inning. The Cubs have done everything but score.
Well, it seems kind of odd that Tony La Russa doesn't have his other left-handed reliever, Zepchinski, warmed up and ready to go in the event Carlos Pena got to the plate in this inning with a chance to do damage, but it's going to be right-hander Kyle McClellan to face the Cubs' first baseman.
Cardinal bullpen is quiet. Sean Marshall ready for a possible 10th inning in the Cubs pen. Carlos Pena leads the team with 9 game-winning RBIs, including 3 in a row on this recent trip.
And was really locked into that gap in left center field in both Atlanta and Houston. Was really driving the ball to the opposite field very well.
Wouldn't say there are any great arms among the 3 Cardinal outfielders currently in the game.
Well, Patterson has an average, maybe a tick above average throwing arm in right. John Jay probably average in center. Holiday maybe a little less than average in left field.
Oof. 2-1. Cubs only need one. He was trying to give him 3.
Throw that one again. Belt high, 90-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate.
Well, he did.
A little higher that time. This at bat has all the earmarks of an up the ladder sequence. A little higher up around the letters above the top of the zone.
Johnson represents a winning run at second. The 2-2 pitch. Fly ball to right. Patterson will make the catch. Once again battling that tough late afternoon sun here in Chicago. We go to extras. 4-4.
All season long, feed your wild side.
Lefty Sean Marshall is on here for extras.
It's 3 days in a row on that last road trip. Was perfect. An inning in each outing. Did not allow a hit. Struck out a couple batters. Didn't walk a man. 26 holds. Second in the National League. Number 1 among left-handers in the big leagues.
17th extra innings affair for the Cardinals. Are 6 of 10. For the Cubs, it's their 10th. They're 5-0 at home, 6-3 overall. First at bat for Corey Patterson, who was acquired from Toronto in that Colby Rasmus deal. And he bounces one right to Carlos Pena. One pitch, one out. For Call, batting right-handed, takes ball one. Really late on that one. That long home run swing we talked about.
Just opens up all kinds of holes in his swing when he takes that big long uppercut swing, that time late on an off-speed pitch.
You said Marmol trying to save the tie. I guess Sean Marshall's trying to hold the tie. Deep left center. Campana will get to the spot. There'll be no hold for Marshall today, but he has 26 of those this season. That is a club single season record for a lefty. He's 4 away from tying Carlos Marmol's single season record of 30 in 2008. Come into the game in a safe spot, get it out, and leave with the lead. That's the criteria for a hold. John Jay, ball one. Breaking ball didn't break a whole lot. 2-1. Pujols is on deck. 2-2. Bullpen's done yet again a wonderful job. Samardzija, Marmol, and now Marshall keeping Cardinals at 4 after Randy Wells went 7 innings. Call strike 3, freezes him on a fastball at 94. Another chance to win it in the bottom of the 10th.
Back in the 7th, Darwin Barney with a shot to right field. The Lance Berkman slipped and had to recover, run all the way to the vines. That put Barney at third. Blake DeWitt follows with a shot of his own to center field that was misplayed by John Jay. No error on either play. Back-to-back triples. The Cubs later scored a run in the 8th inning to tie it, and we continue on here in extras.
Another guy acquired from the Blue Jays. Octavio Dotel, 4th deadline trade of his career. Cubs with their first back-to-back triple since 1999. Ricky Morandini and Sammy Sosa did it against the Mets. A kick in the 1-0 to the guy who tied the game with a double in the 8th. Giovanni Soto, 1-1. 98 Rookie of the Year, Kerry Wood. Tell working quickly. Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Dotel throwing more fastballs than just about any point in his career. He had a season for the Oakland A's back in 2005 where he threw his fastball nearly 90% of the time. He's throwing it 87% of the time this year.
Ooh, a flinch by Scott Berry, the home plate umpire. So new life for Soto.
All fastballs in this at bat to Gio, the last one right on that outside corner at the knees. Take a deep breath.
And he takes advantage. A leadoff single. He's going to hold there. Big turnaround first.
That's a good heady at bat by Giovanni Soto. Every pitch from Dotel was out there on that outside corner. All fastballs, as I mentioned. A very controlled 2-strike swing. Little soft liner into right field for a leadoff hit.
Bird squares and bunts it foul.
Bird has yet to put down a sac bunt this season, and with Giovanni Soto running at first, no guarantee, even if he gets a bunt down on the ground, that Soto is going to be able to advance to second base. You can see it's been a few years since Marlin has put one down. Soto really needs to work hard on that secondary lead. Make sure he gets out there into a position where if Bird gets that ball on the ground, he's able to advance on to second base.
Deadens it. Molina will get the out. So Bird with his first sac bunt as a Chicago Cub.
Hasn't done it often, but got that one down perfectly to the right side. The only Cardinal with a play is Yadier Molina coming out from behind home plate. And the only play he has is a toss on to Terrio at first for the out. We'd love to be able to run for Gio at second base. But Tyler Colvin taking the at-bat here for the pitcher spot. Coy Hill, the only available position player off the bench. We know that Casey Coleman has good speed and is a good base runner as a starting pitcher. But it looks like Gio is going to stay in the game as the runner at second base.
So the pinch hitter, Colvin against Dotel. A couple more shots here to win it. Colvin and Barney due up. And the pitch to Colvin. Big swing, fouled it back.
As a gambling man, I'd say that Tyler Colvin's going to see another high fastball here. Probably out of the strike zone, away and way up.
And a base hit. Jay will pick it up. Soto coming around third. Throw to the plate. Not in time. Cubs win. Cubs win. Tyler Colvin off the bench with an RBI single, and they win it 5-4.